mas importante yung mga ugali ng ating mga leaders na ilalagay natin sa pwesto kaysa sa form of government. Because a form of government is not an assurance that we will be run well by our leaders na nilagay natin doon. Kung merong panukala na laban sa dinastiya, ito'y magbabase sa mga mambabatas na ilalagay natin sa posisyon. So if we are expecting any change sa ngayon no, sa komposisyon ng Kongreso, I don't think that yung pagbabago o tungkol sa formula ng dinastiya ay makukuha natin sa ngayon. We don't have the numbers because both houses of Congress are composed of personalities na maraming mga kamag-anak.
Dito nga sa isinusulong na anti-political dynasty bill, ano ho ba ang inyong nakikita tungkol dito? Ano hong mas maganda na provision na isama dito sa panukalang ito?
Well, nasa present constitution natin yung pagkontra sa dinastiya, pero hindi ito self-executing provision, no? Kailangan ng batas. Yung realidad ngayon, tignan natin yung komposisyon ng Senado at ng House of Representatives. Marami diyang magkakamag-anak. Kahit sa mga kaalyado natin, maraming magkakamag-anak. Kahit doon sa kabila, doon sa let's say sa administrasyon, marami ring pabor na ipagpatuloy yung system of government or qualifications of the candidates. Now, yung tanong, kung merong panukala na laban sa dinastiya, ito'y magbabase sa mga mambabatas na ilalagay natin sa posisyon. So, if we are expecting any change sa ngayon no, sa komposisyon ng Kongreso, I don't think that yung pagbabago o tungkol sa formula ng dinastiya ay makukuha natin sa ngayon. We don't have the numbers because both houses of Congress are composed of personalities na maraming mga kamag-anak. Sa mga senador pa nga lang, ilan bang senador yung Tulfo? O dalawa. Cayetano, dalawa. Villar, dalawa. Ilang boto na yon? Kahit si Senator Bong, yung anak ni Senator Bongo is a vice mayor. So, si Marcoleta, Senator Marcoleta, yung anak niya congressman. So, if we extend so much time sa discussion na ganyan, may pupuntahan ba ang ating debate? Dahil we have to be practical. Look at the composition of the Senate. Look at the composition of the House. Will we have that change na gusto gaya ni Attorney Hinlo na wala naman akong kamag-anak sa politika na nandyan, no? Na except siguro I have a first cousin na councilor in one of the small LGUs dito sa Negros. The point is, we have to put good persons in government first, at kung hindi tayo komportable na magkakamag-anak yung ito, huwag nating iboto. Once we have the right composition in our Congress, based sa mga inelect nating tao, doon tayo mag-usap ng anti-dynasty.
Opo. Pero sangayon ho ba kayo doon sa panukala din na dapat umabot din hindi lamang sa elected position kundi maging sa appointive position ito nga anti-political dynasty, attorney?
We have to look at the design of the bill. May advantage, may disadvantage. Kasi yung advantage na may anti-dynasty bill or law ay malilimitahan ang number of relatives either by appointment or by election na mailalagay at magbibigay ng pag-asa sa katulad ni Attorney Hinlo na mas madali sa akin maluklok sa posisyon. On the other hand, there is what we call trust and confidence. Merong mga confidential positions in an office. So, yung isang elected leader, within his office, if he wants to put certain appointees in his office, which entails trust and confidence, usually, nilalagay niya kamag-anak niya. But I also agree that everything has a limit. So, if there is an anti-dynasty bill to be proposed, to be considered as a law, hindi siya dapat, let's say, masyadong stricto, hindi rin siya dapat masyadong liberal. There should be a balance. There will be, let's say, a limit to the number of appointees to be allowed. There should also be a limit to the, let's say, candidates for elective position. Kasi sa ngayon, wala talagang limit. So, kung akong tatanungin, if ever darating yung panahon na the Congress will have the right composition para pag-usapan itong anti-dynasty bill, there should be a balance. You could have relatives running into office but limited to the number of positions. There should also be, let's say, limits to the appointed ones. Why is this important? It will be unfair to a candidate na gustong tumakbo, kaso yung tiyo niya, yung tatay niya ay sitting politician. What if itong aspiring candidate ay talagang magaling? So, we are putting a limit to the right of that particular person na wala naman siya kinalaman na pinanganak siya ng tatay niya na gusto siyang magsilbi. So, we should be we should be wise enough to think of the situation wherein we will be barring a person from running because he has the same surname or is a blood relative of a sitting politician. Na sa real life, kahit yung mga kamag-anak o yung mga magkakapatid, marami rin sa kanila na hindi magkabati.
Opo. Attorney, bago ko lang ipasa kay partner Admar, sa nakikita po ninyo dito nga po sa political dynasty sa ating bansa, ano po yung direktang epekto nito sa ating mga kababayan? Nakikita ho ba ninyo na mas marami yung negatibong implikasyon kumpara sa positive implication po sa taong bayan?
Dahil sa walang limit yung political dynasty dito, mas maraming negative kesa sa positive. Sa opinion ko, no? Because we are limiting the power of governance to a certain family. But again, to repeat, within a family, marami ring magagaling. So, if there is in the future a bill designed to put a stop to this political dynasty, we just put a limit to the number of, let's say, direct relatives or up to... there was a previous proposal to amend the Constitution nung time ni President Duterte. Yung disenyo doon, up to the second degree, hindi pwede magtakbo. No? Masyadong restrictive yon. So, tignan mo yung nangyari, hindi na-aprobahan yung draft constitution dahil nga yung mag-a-approve mga senador at members of Congress. So, if there is, it will now depend on the members of the Senate and the Congress to look at the reasonableness of the proposed bill. But I would want, no, personally, to see a bill na balanse. Hindi masyadong stricto, hindi rin masyadong liberal, but there should be a guideline. Kasi how can we stop a person? For example, if there is an existing anti-dynasty bill, pipigilan ba natin si Mayor Baste na tumakbo dahil yung kapatid niya ay vice presidente? Mapipigilan ba natin yung Tulfo na ipatakbuhin yung let's say kapatid nila dahil may sitting senators na. If the lawmaker says yes nga hanggang 2 senador lang na yung magkakapatid, di yun yung sundin natin, that will be the formula. Kasi kung nanalo yung si Ben Tulfo, di 3 sanang Tulfo yung nasa Senado kasi wala ngang limit. Kung imagine rin natin, yung Villar, pwede rin theoretically na maging 3. Meron si Cynthia Villar, meron si Mark Villar at si Camille Villar. What will stop former Senator Cynthia Villar from running? So, parang masama na sa mata pag walang limit. So, but there is also this argument, pag may nakaupo na ba na senador dyan na Villar, hindi na pwede yung pangalawang Villar. So it depends now. Didebatehan yan at depende na sa atin. Kung si Atty. Hinlo, yung tatanungin, that will give opportunity kung babawalan na may magkapatid o yung up to 2nd degree na relative na tumakbo in a legislative body, pabor yan sa katulad ko na bago. Kasi maraming magkakapatid na mababawalan at there will be an opening for new politicians to be elected.
Attorney, maing aga, si Admar po ito. Dito naman po sa usapin na masyado raw makapangyarihan ang isang presidente po. Nakikita niyo po ba ang suwestyon na mabawasan po itong kapangyarihan na ito, Attorney?
Let's just say it would need a charter change to do that kasi under the present design makapangyarihan talaga except when there is an impeachment. That's the only legal process or incapacitated siya as declared by his cabinet. So for now, ginawa na ng paraan yan ng previous framers of the Constitution by making yung a president to be only qualified to run one time, no? That's why may limit sa number of times to run. Except kung makakaupo siya by reason of succession. Pwedeng theoretically maging 2 gaya ni former President Gloria. So, may narinig ko kanina may ini-interview kayo proposing for a parliamentary form of government. I believe personally na yung problema natin is not the form of government. I believe personally yung problema natin yung mga taong nilalagay natin sa pwesto kasi with a good president, ang 6 years presidency period is too short. But with a bad president, yung 6 years period is too long. So, imagine if we have a parliamentary form of government, theoretically speaking, kung hindi tatanggalin ng members of Congress yung Prime Minister, the Prime Minister will stay there for a long time. Kung sinasabi nating paano yun? Kasi let's say yung mga tao, let's say gusto siyang paalisin. There is a clamor. Imagine, let's say sa Philippine setting, na yung House of Representatives are the ones, the members are the ones running our government. At yung speaker, yan yung parang nag-aastang presidente. So, yung magiging leader ng ating bansa ay pipiliin ng mga members of Congress. Yan yung mangyayari, no? Under that design. At on theory, hindi na kailangan i-corrupt yung mga botante ng isang prime minister kasi yung magko-corrupt sa mga botante are the congressman. Bibilhin tayo tada eleksyon, no? With all the promises. At yung prime minister naman, yan naman yung magko-corrupt sa mga members of the House through pork barrels, through all the powers na ibibigay niya sa mga miyembro para he will not be replaced for life. So, on theory, any form of government will have its advantage or disadvantage, even dictatorship, no? But again, kung sinong ilalagay natin sa pwesto, whether he is good or bad, will define how the form of government will be run. Kasi meron din mga nagsasabi, if we have a benevolent diktador, remember nung time ni former President Duterte, there was a call for a RevGov, revolutionary government, ng mga supporters niya. Hindi lang sinang-ayunan ni Tatay Digong because he does not want to become a dictator. But imagine, maraming mga supporters ni Pangulong Duterte humihingi na mag-declare siya revolutionary government because they believe he is a good president and they want him there for a long time. But doon rin natin nakita that as a person, hindi gahaman sa poder si dating Pangulong Duterte. So, again, sa aking opinion, mas importante yung mga ugali ng ating mga leaders na ilalagay natin sa pwesto kaysa sa form of government. Because a form of government is not an assurance that we will be run well by our leaders na nilagay natin doon.
Dito naman po sa nilabanan noon ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ng mga oligarko, nakikita niyo po ba na mahihinto ito as well as iba pang klase ng korupsyon na may kaugnayan nga dito sa mga nasa pribadong sektor din na nagiging kasapakat ng mga nanunungkulan, yung pagbibigay na ng kalayaan sa yung ating economic restriction po sa ating konstitusyon, nakikita niyo po ba na napapanahon din yon na baguhin po, attorney?
If we're talking about charter change panahong ito, this is not the right time to talk about it. Ano lang tayo, madidiskaril lang tayo. Imagine to have a charter change during the Marcos administration. Dapat iiwala na natin sa isip natin ito. A charter change should only be discussed in an administration which is politically and economically stable. Kasi patapos na si Pangulong Marcos. Pag ngayon pa tayo mag-charter change, you're talking about changing the form of government. We're talking about, let's say, anti-dynasty. We're talking about things that would require charter change. Mawawala tayo sa focus. Yun nga, this presidential form of government of ours, it has worked nung time ni President Duterte, for those who are supporting President Duterte. And to those who are supporting President Duterte, former President Duterte, naniniwala that it has not worked ngayong time ni President Marcos. Kasi bakit masyadong matagal? Kailangan bumaba na siya sa pwesto. Hindi na makapag-antay ng 2028. But if you're gonna push for that, we will be going against the Constitution. So, ngayon yung solusyon nyo is to amend the Constitution. Imagine if there is a talk in the amendment of the Constitution sa panahong ito. Sino yung mga mambabatas? Kung Constituent Assembly yan. Kung gagawin naman natin Constitutional Convention, it's too late. Any attempt to do a Constitutional Convention, it should be done in the first stop of the administration. Too late to discuss it right now. Pag-usapan na lang natin ito during the next administration, and hopefully umamin si Chairman Garcia na kasalanan raw ng mga botante kung mag-elect sila ng masasamang leaders sa katayuan ng bansang ito. maraming tumatalagsa kay Chairman Garcia, pero yung statement na yon, tama yon. Because tayo rin may kagagawan in putting our leaders in government. Sino ba naglagay? That's why, kung nagkamali tayo noon, wag na nating ulitin. Kaso nililigawan nila tayo tuwing eleksyon, yung mga may pera, yan yung binoboto natin. Yung mga sikat, yan yung binoboto natin. At yung matagal na sa pwesto, na for so many years sila yung paulit-ulit, o yung sinasabi natin kanina, yung political dynasty, sila yung paulit-ulit, bakit natin binabalik sa pwesto? Alam naman natin na mali o palpak yung kanilang governance. Give it to the new ones. Mas importante to the form of government, ulitin ko, yung mga taong nilalagay natin sa pwesto. Hindi lang yung dapat leaders na hindi lang nagki-criticize, but leaders na may plano anong gagawin sa bansa. It's so easy to criticize corruption. It's so easy to do memes and to make fun sa mga politiko natin. Pero yung tanong, kung makaupo kayo, anong plano nyo? Kung makaupo kayo, paano natin to mabago ang ekonomiya ng bansa? Kung makaupo kayo, yung solusyon nyo ba dahil nanalo na kayo, gaganda ng buhay ng lahat? They should lay down what are their economic and political programs to reform the country. Tanungin natin sa mga politikong let's say gustong tumakbo, hindi lang yung kritisismo sa present government na sa tingin natin corrupt o may mga maling polisiya. Tanungin sila, anong gagawin natin para ma-improve yung lives ng Filipino people? How do we combat poverty? How will you address the problems sa Philippine Sea, sa West Philippine Sea? How do we appease our secessionist brothers? So ask their program of government, not only to ask them to critique the wrongs of the present government.
Maraming salamat po, Attorney, sa inyong oras at panahon sa ulitin po.
Salamat po sa inyo at mabuhay ang SMNI.
Ayun po mga kababayan, si Attorney J.V. Hinlo, ang Deputy Secretary General for Visayas ng PDP Laban.